My next category is blush, and I think you're going to be surprised at how many I end up decluttering, because I really have been considering which ones I enjoy reaching for, which ones I like using, which ones I think look great on my skin, and which ones I don't love as much, which don't make me as happy to use. And I do have quite a few that I think I'm getting rid of. So let's get started with a couple that I do want to keep. Definitely one of my favorites is this Makeup Revolution matte blush in the shade Beloved. I love the shade. It's such a beautiful bright color. It's a lot more neon than it's looking like on my viewfinder, and so I don't know if you're going to get the full impact of this shade, but it's very pigmented and neon. I definitely have to be careful not to apply too much, but I just love it so much. I think this is a beautiful shade and a little bit of a hidden gem at the drugstore, so I'm definitely keeping this one. Another one I definitely want to keep is this one here by Urban Decay. It's the Beached Bronzer in the shade Sunkissed. It's technically a bronzer, but I prefer using it like a blush. It's a very reddish, orangey reddish, and so it doesn't really work as a bronzer for me, but I do think it makes a really nice blush. I've been wearing it a lot lately with my purple eyeshadow looks, where I kind of want to keep my blush tone down, but I still want to create a little bit of a flush on the cheeks. So I really do enjoy this as a blush, and I'm definitely keeping this. Another one I'm going to keep is this mini Tarte blush in the shade Party. I am almost finished with it, if you can see. There's really not a lot left, and so I'm going to probably put this in a project pan, finish it up. Even though there isn't a ton left, I still feel like it's going to take me a long time to use this up, and I will talk about this in a how long does it take to use a makeup video, probably within the next couple of months. However, I am going to get rid of the full size from Tarte. This is the shade Exposed. I think this and the Too Faced blush are very, very similar. It's just not something I reach for. I think the formula is only getting drier and drier, and it's just not something that I enjoy reaching for. If I'm gonna reach for a blush with this kind of shade, I'm gonna reach for the Too Faced one. So I'm gonna declutter the Tarte one, and I'm going to hold on to the Too Faced one. I'll swatch them side by side so you can see. I think they're so similar, and it's just not something that I need two of, so I'm going to hold on to the Too Faced one. I'm also going to hold on to this Jordana eyeshadow. It's in the shade Orange Shock, and this is a dupe for the NARS Taj Mahal blush, which I decluttered a little while ago. It's a beautiful orange blush with a bit of a gold shimmer to it, and I really do love this a lot. This is such a beautiful shade. Definitely very unique in my collection. I don't have any other super orange blushes except for this one by Essence, but it's different enough that I can keep both, and I plan on keeping both. So definitely going to hold on to this one. And like I said, I'm going to keep the Essence Blush Up blush in the shade 10 Heatwave. I think you can still get this on the website, but I got this for like $2, and I think it's so beautiful. It's an ombre blush. It's a very vibrant orange that changes into a very hot pink. I don't know if you can see that. And then if you mix them together, you just get a really pretty vibrant coral shade. So let me swatch these on my arm here. This is the orange side, this is the hot pink side, and this is them mixed together. And I think it's just a really pretty blush. I enjoy using this a lot, and I love that I can add a little bit more orange or more pink depending on what mood I'm in that day. So definitely gonna hold on to this one. All right, now let's move on to some blushes that I think I'm going to declutter. And this kind of hurts my heart a tiny bit because I loved having all three, but I just don't really reach for them that often. Let me swatch these on my hand before I go any further. So this first one here is Frat Boy. This one in the middle is Down Boy, and this last one is Cabana Boy. So these are gorgeous blushes. Really good pigment. Last forever. I talked about this blush in a how long does it take to use up makeup video, and it took me like 200 uses just to hit little pan on it. So it's something that's you're definitely going to get your money's worth if you buy these, and if you're the type of person who only wants one or two blushes, I recommend these ones because they're just really nice. They're good products. I stopped using Frat Boy after I hit pan. I really can't think of a ton of looks where I absolutely need this type of shade. Even though it is really pretty, I'm just kind of over it. I've used it so much that I really feel like I got my money's worth, and I don't really find myself ever reaching for it or getting excited to use it. This middle one here, it's a very pretty purple, But if I'm going for a purpley blush, I'm gonna go for this one from Hard Candy in Living Doll. I think this is a gorgeous shade. It has a little bit of like a shimmer to it. It's really pretty on the cheeks and it really adds a lot of life. This one I just don't really find I would reach over this Hard Candy one. So I'm going to declutter both of these. As for Cabana Boy, this is my least used blush out of all three. It's a really pretty like plummy purple, and I do think that this looks really nice on my skin. But I don't know, I just don't really reach for it enough for it to be worth keeping. So this is gonna be in the maybe pile. I'm just gonna put this in the corner here and come back to it. Another two blushes here that I think are so beautiful and I really do love are from Urban Decay. They are the Afterglow blushes, and this one is in the shade Bittersweet and this one's in the shade Fetish. Bittersweet is such a unique shade. I never use a bright purple blush. It's just not something that I fit into my routine. I think I did a few times whenever I first started talking about it, but since then I really haven't had that need. And I do have a lot of purpley eyeshadows that I could use as a blush if super necessary. It's not necessary for me to keep one in my collection. I know some people who love this and wear this all the time. Just for me personally, from a makeup style and for what I tend to reach for, this just doesn't really fit into my routine that often. So I'm going to declutter this one. As for Fetish, I'm not entirely sure because it is similar enough to the Too Faced one for it to be like something that I don't need two of. Let me swatch them side by side and then go from there. Oh, okay, so they're actually very different. I don't know if you can see that, but this top one, oops, where are you? This one right here is the Too Faced Baby Love, and this one is Fetish by Urban Decay. I guess I didn't realize it pulls a lot more purple on my skin than it looks like in the pan. I didn't realize that it's a little bit more of a mauve blush. So I think maybe I will keep both. Let me swatch the Milani blush next to it and go from there. Okay, I just tried to swatch the Milani one on my arm and I did it 3 times and nothing is coming off on my arm. This one is clearly dried out. It even looks like dried out in the, I don't know if you can see that, but it looks very dried out in the pan. So I think I'm gonna declutter this one. I think it's just really old. It's one of the oldest blushes I own. Okay, so I added this Cabana Boy into the mix and I swatched Fetish and Cabana Boy next to each other. These are very, very similar. So I guess it just depends on which one of the two I want to keep. And I think I'm gonna keep Cabana Boy over Fetish. So this one here by Hard Candy, it's the Glow All The Way blush in the shade Living Doll 125. This is such a beautiful, beautiful blush. I think I called this one my prettiest blush color that I owned in a blush tag that I did a while ago. And this one is just so pretty. It's like a doll pinky purple and has a silver flush to it. And I just think this looks so pretty. This is especially for like no makeup days where I just want to have a really healthy looking flush on my skin. I really do love this blush a lot. I'm definitely going to keep this one. Okay, so this one at the very edge here is by Milani. It's the Milani Luminoso blush. I do really enjoy this blush a lot. It's one of the only peachy blushes that I own that isn't a straight up orange. Same with the Hourglass blush. This is in the shade Incandescent Electra. It's absolutely beautiful. I do really like the formula of this blush. It looks so natural and beautiful on the cheek and it always blends so nicely. I am going to hold on to this one as well. This one right here is the Marc Jacobs blush. This is the Lush and Libido Air Blush. And I do think it's really pretty. It's something that I don't use a ton, but I do like being able to customize, making it a little bit deeper and then making it a little less. You know what? Let me pull out Cabana Boy again and swatch the deeper end of this blush and compare the two again, just to make sure I'm not keeping a bunch of like purpley plum blushes when I'm not going to use them. So this one here is by Cabana Boy and this one, okay, yeah, so they're definitely different enough for me to justify having both. Okay. See, this is also good for me to just sit down and swatch them out so I can really figure out which undertones I have and don't have. This one right here is the Katie blush by Illamasqua. I adore this blush. I've hit pan on it, which takes forever with these blushes. I love this formula. I definitely want to get another shade or two from this formula because I think it's really pretty, very soft. It deepens up a little bit on my actual cheeks so that it's not so pastel, but I just think it's a beautiful shade. Definitely gonna hold on to it. And this last one here is by Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Cheek to Chic Swish and Pop Blusher in the shade Love is the Drug. Beautiful shade. I remember I wore this in a video. Now that I think about it, I think it might have been my very first dupes video. I know I just came out with the dupes video like last week, but my very first one that I came out with, I was wearing this on my cheeks. And I remember looking back on editing and thinking, wow, that looks really nice. And I got a lot of really nice compliments too. So I do think this looks really nice on my cheeks. Just something about it goes really well with my skin tone. So I'm going to hold on to all 5 of these. So I am getting rid of almost a third of my blushes. I'm getting rid of 6 out of 19, I believe I counted correctly. And I'm very surprised because I don't think I usually ever want to declutter blushes, ever. It's one of my favorite makeup products, that and bronzers. Those are my 2 favorite, actually highlighters. Really any cheek product I love and I have a hard time parting with, but these are just ones that I don't reach for. They're just getting older as I have them sitting in my collection. I might as well give them to someone who'll use them. And I definitely want to give these to better homes, people who actually enjoy them, and then I can focus on blushes that really make me happy and I'm excited to use. So I'm gonna hold on to these and give these to someone who will enjoy them much more than I do.